The second annual Hellfire Gala is the biggest super event of the year. See friend and enemy alike of mutant kind come to Krakoa. Are they here to break bread or make war? Let's hop into this special extra-length issue and find out what happens next together, shall we? So then, as we join the story, we check on in with Cyclops and Jean Grey. Scott is telling Jean about his plan to out the mutants' resurrection protocols to the media. This, of course, being one of the biggest storylines going on in Duggan's mainline X-Men book, in case you missed it. Jean is resistant to the idea at first, but Scott makes a pretty good case. Sooner or later, the rest of the world is going to find out that mutant kind was able to defeat death and are essentially immortal, and they can either tell the truth now or let the lie hang them, which is what their enemies in Orchis want. Of course, Cyclops probably couldn't have picked a worse time to try and take this piece of news to the media, because we are on the eve of the Hellfire Gala. We see one of the war commanders, Bishop, actively leading drills on the beach, including some of the younger mutants. Today's mission? How to deal with a potential midnight raid by the Avengers, assuming that they attacked by night. A little paranoid, right, to run these drills about people who are supposed to be your friends? When the actual news of what Cyclops has done hits the island nation, it goes off like a frickin' bomb. No one is more pissed off than Emma Frost, the White Queen, and one of Scott's other main love interests. Because, well, if you've been reading all the X-Men books in this Destiny of X era for mutant stories, Emma the White Queen has basically kept the island nation together after Xavier and Eric were ousted. The Hellfire Gala was supposed to be a victory lap for all of Emma's great works, a celebration of the life-changing mutant medicine and all the human success stories they've been having. But now the only thing anyone can talk about is how the X-Men have found a way to become immortal and they're not sharing with anyone else. Bishop and the other security-minded members of the council think that the whole party needs to be called off, while Emma and a bunch of the others believe that now is the time to show mutant strength. This news also reverberates throughout the rest of the superhero community in New York. We see Captain America, Clea the new Doctor Strange, and even Iron Man, people who weren't sure if they'd be attending the Hellfire Gala this year, knowing full well they need to go. There's also a really funny little appendix page here wherein we hear Janet Van Dyne the Wasp have a whole conversation with Jumbo Carnation about fashion and what the heroes will be wearing this year. Obviously, Orchis, the mutants' #1 enemies, the secretly cyborg-controlled organization, is planning to use the Hellfire Gala to strike at their enemies, and helping them is none other than Moira X. Oh yeah, that's right, Moira became a stupid cyborg at the end of that Wolverine story that I already forgot about. You'd think they'd be a little bit more resistant to just letting her in their mutant hate group, but she's here now. What's her big plot for Krakoa? Well, you'd probably never guess it, but it involves Mary Jane Watson. Yeah, apparently in a free comic book day issue that I didn't read from this year, MJ had actually become a spokesperson for Emma Frost and the brand new mutant medicines that are able to treat dementia in people like Mary Jane's own Aunt Anna. Moira and Orchis kidnapped Mary Jane and have put some sort of evil mad science collar around her that allows Moira to essentially hijack her body whenever she wants. Whew, lordy, now that is party crashing on a whole other level, I tell ya. Despite all these different threats, the internal and the external, the Hellfire Gala still ends up going off, and once it does, everyone and their mother seems to want a piece of Emma. Of course, the only one Emma doesn't want to talk to is Cyclops. She's royally pissed about him almost ruining her big night because he just had to be such a Boy Scout. And that if he really cared about the day-to-day operations of Krakoa, he should have taken that job on the council when it was offered to him. Interestingly enough, Scott says that he's actually a fan of the Hellfire Gala, especially the big vote that happens at the end of the night that picks the brand new members of the X-Men team, figuring that it's yet another thing to take out of the control of the often corrupt council. Also, in order to piss Scott off, Emma brought a brand new date to the party, and it's real-world actor Jon Hamm. In fact, much like last year's issue, this one is positively filled to bursting with references and in-jokes in the background. My personal favorite is Gwenpool asking Marvel's editor when she can have a book again. Now, it's not just Emma who has a bone to pick with Scott. Forge is actually mad at him too. We also discover that Forge is working on some sort of secret black project for Professor Xavier independent of the rest of the council, which, is almost certainly not going to be good for anyone. We also get to see a bunch of the different superheroes in the community mingle. Moira MJ ends up stealing away Proteus from the Five. 5. And it's here I'm reminded that, oh yeah, Moira is like Proteus's mom, but it like never comes up, but it's coming up here now. We see Captain America try and impart some words of wisdom to Emma about being a wartime leader at the craps table. We also see Firestar has returned to the island only to get an icy reception from the rest of mutant kind who think that she's something of a sellout for not coming to join the island earlier. We see Tony Stark corner Reed Richards for a conversation over what exactly this whole mutant resurrection protocol means for the scientific world. Mr. Fantastic ends up not so subtly letting it slip out that he believes that a mutant psychic has already tampered with his own mind and tried to steal a way to shroud the mutant X gene. We also see Fei Long, the evil Chinese rocket scientist and one of the foremost members of Orchis, make a scene at the party despite not being invited. Him and Emma measure dicks for a little bit over the true owner of Mars. Fei Long says that it was part of the human solar system and that mutant kind only stole it from them. Tony interjects in this conversation too, him realizing that both he and Fei Long are futurists, but beyond that have nothing else in common. He also says that the Avengers could totally have colonized Mars, you know, if they wanted. Now it seems that whatever Moira wanted from Proteus, she ended up getting it, while also rubbing some salt in the wound, saying that she never loved him and never considered him a son, which naturally makes Proteus freak out a bit. This in turn actually makes it look like Proteus is attacking Mary Jane, so Spider-Man swoops on in, despite the fact that if you've been reading the Spider-Man book right now, the relationship between these two is still mysteriously strained. This fight actually only gets bigger and bigger with Wolverine and the other members of the Five joining the brawl too. Mary Jane Moira ends up escaping through a portal, and wouldn't you know it, Spider-Man and Wolverine decide to make plans to give chase. Want to know where that story ended up? I guess you're gonna have to read Amazing Spider-Man number 9 coming soon. Now, with the help of Jean Grey, Scott is finally able to corner Emma and finally talk to her. Isn't it interesting to see Jean being wingman for Cyclops in this situation? Scott opens up to her about everything that happened at the end of the previous X-Men book and how Dr. Stasis was actually yet another Mr. Sinister clone. And how if they want Krakoa to succeed as a nation, they can't have it be built on a bed of lies. If they do that, they're really no different than Professor X and Magneto. The truth, after all, will set you free. And hey, because one turnabout deserves another, Emma decides to open up to Cyclops and reveal to him the deep dark secret of the Krakoan Council, how it was all basically built on the back of Moira and her future sight, but how now they don't have that anymore and Moira is straight up working for the bad guys now, meaning the good guys have their work cut out for them worse than ever before. It's not all bad news though. The big vote for the next member of the X-Men team actually ends up going in the good guys' favor. Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Synch end up staying on, proving that despite being mad in the moment, most of the people of Krakoa know that Cyclops did a good thing and that the X-Men are still dedicated to fighting the good fight, not just for mutants but for their human allies too. Cyclops manages to browbeat Forge into joining the team, mainly so he can try and repair his relationship with him, but also so he can keep an eye on him and what he's doing for Xavier. In retaliation, Forge nominates former Hellion Havoc to join the team, hoping that he will be such a bother to his brother he won't be able to watch him. Emma nominates Firestar, hoping to bury ages-long hatchets with her. Iceman joins the team because he thinks it would be fun, and Magic joins the team because, well, Magic gonna do what she wants and no one can tell her otherwise. And so yeah, there you have it everyone, the X-Men lineup for 2022. A pretty good looking group if I do say so myself, but believe it or not, the story is still not done. We once again check back in with MJ Moira as she goes on another clandestine meeting, but oh, she's not meeting with the agents of Orchis this time. Instead, she's passing on a bunch of information to the evil Eternals. Yes, that's right, Moira hates mutant kind so much now she's willing to two-time a mutant hate group like Orchis with the Eternals. Want to know how that battle turns out? Be sure to read the soon-coming X-Men Avengers Eternal mega crossover Judgment Day. And so that was X-Men Hellfire Gala issue number 1, 2022, everyone, and I gotta say, the Hellfire Club as an event is definitely becoming something to watch in the world of X-Men comics. I don't think they quite had a mic drop moment as big as the X-Men are colonizing Mars like they did at the end of the previous Hellfire Club story, but this one definitely had some pretty strong moments of its own. It's an organic continuation to everything Duggan was doing over in the main X-Men book. It's nice to see the major bombshell of mutant resurrection being known unknown to the rest of the world play out. It's nice to see Cyclops not being afraid to go above and beyond the Krakoan Council to try and do the good thing and trying to bring the X-Men back to their heroic roots. I also really love everything Emma got to do in this story. As she mentions, everyone she's talked to tonight has told her to try and do her job differently, yet no one seems to realize that she pretty much became the most important mutant in this last year, holding everything together, and all she wants is her party, and she can barely have that. Obviously, this story also exists too to plant a ton of different seeds that we're going to see grow across several different books and events in the next coming year or so. And yeah, a lot of them sound like cool pitches. What exactly did they have to manipulate Reed Richards' mind for? Hey, Spider-Man and Wolverine teaming up to rescue MJ from Orchis? That sounds fun. And then of course we have Judgment Day that is also coming soon, an event that looks like it's going to be pitting the X-Men against a bunch of their allies. Will they be able to pull it together by the end, or is this really the beginning of them becoming enemies? Overall, I think I'd feel comfortable giving this one an 8.5 out of 10. It was pretty good, definitely worth the price of admission. Lord knows you get a lot of comic bang for your buck in this one. Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.